There's no way around it. In order to speak a language, whatever language that is, you need to know words. And acquiring those words, if you're not in a full immersion setting where you're just constantly hearing them around you, you need to go about memorizing vocabulary intentionally. That's something that if you're taking a Spanish course, your teacher can't memorize vocabulary for you. It's on you to do that. And part of the struggle is figuring out what way of memorizing vocabulary works best for you. All of our brains are wired differently, and what works for some people might not work very well for others. So I'm going to give you 3 different tools that may be helpful, and there's many others. If you think of other ways that you would prefer to memorize vocabulary, that's really good too. The first tool that I want to show you is a piece of paper and a pen. This is not very complicated. In order to use these 2 tools, you use this one to write on this one. What I suggest is just write out the vocabulary words, maybe like each word 5 times to begin with. What I have found is that for some people, the act of like physically writing out a word, it connects well with your brain. When you write something, I know for me, if I'm taking notes, if I write something down, I remember it better. So remembering how to spell it, seeing it with your eyes, all of that put together may help. I'll show you how to do it. It goes like this. You write the words over and over and over and over and over again. The repetition does something special in your brain. The second strategy that I recommend for memorizing vocab has to do with index cards, a pen, and scissors. Basically, you're going to make your own flashcards. I will show you how to. First, cut up the index cards to make smaller index cards. This helps because then you have even more index cards. Write the English word on one side and the Spanish translation of that word on the other side. Do this for every single word that you want to learn. So you'll have a separate flashcard for each word that you're studying. To study, look at one side and guess what's on the other side. Using flashcards, I suggest that you start off by looking at the side that's in Spanish and try to recall what it means in English. And then once you've mastered that, flip the entire deck over and look at the words in English and try to recall what they are in Spanish. This is because the first step in your brain, you're able to recognize what something means before you're actually able to produce it with your mouth. So the step of looking at it in Spanish, I can look at the word hola and be like, oh yeah, that means hi. Then after I've mastered that, I can look at the word hi and have the confidence and the skill to be able to correctly pronounce hola and be able to know that that is what hi means. While my students are working on memorizing vocabulary, I often have them make flashcards and go through the deck of flashcards that they've made and make a couple piles. Maybe the first pile would be for all of the words that they're able to look at the flashcard and instantly know, yeah, I've got this, I don't need to study it anymore, I know this word. Then the second pile would be for words that they got correct, but they were unsure about. Words that technically they eventually got, but they didn't have confidence with. That would be the second pile. And then the last pile would be all of the words that they do not know yet. Then they can focus on those last 2 piles and not worry too much about the first pile because those are the words that they know. Then as they focus on the last 2 piles of vocabulary words in their flashcards, they can slowly begin moving some of those words to that first pile as they recognize, oh, I know this now. I know this word. I can move it over there. The final technique that I want to share with you guys about acquiring vocabulary is an app and a website called Quizlet. Quizlet is super helpful. It has a whole lot of different things that are available on that app. It's also a website. If you have a desktop or laptop computer, it's an app. If you'd like to download it onto your phone, called Quizlet. It has the ability to basically make or use digital flashcards. So I will upload a vocabulary list for each week of this course, and I upload lists all the time for my students. They can then access their vocabulary list from me on Quizlet. You will be able to do the same, and from that list, they can click on their virtual flashcards, and they can just click through. Instead of having the flashcards in their hand, it's on their phone, and they swipe it to turn the flashcard over, or they can do different games, different practices. I'll show you right now how to work Quizlet. Here's my handy dandy Quizlet app. I'm going to click on the week 1 greetings vocabulary, and there's my flashcards. I can click on the English and it will flip over and show me the Spanish. I can click on it as many times as I would like, and then I can swipe to go over to the next vocabulary card, and I can continue swiping to go through all of them. A nice thing about Quizlet is that it also has a function where you can listen to pronunciation.
Buenos días.
Good morning.
Buenos días.
Good morning.
I think that function is really nice because you can remember how to pronounce different words. This is a little game, a matching game that is available on Quizlet with every vocabulary list. It lets you match the English to the Spanish, and it times you. It's also kind of fun, slightly addictive. I highly recommend it. Then the Quizlet app also has like a test and quiz feature where you can test yourself. It will show you questions, you can answer the questions, and at the end, it will give you your score. So you can just quiz yourself on your own, see how you're doing with the vocabulary. Those are 3 different ways that I have found to be very common for students who are trying to acquire vocabulary. If there's other ways that you think of, please feel free. Use whatever resources you find best for the way your brain works at acquiring vocabulary. I recommend that you try these 3 strategies and see what works best for you. And if you think of other ways to do it, that's awesome too.